International investigators have concluded that Russian President Vladimir Putin played an active role in the shooting down of Malaysian flight MH17 in 2014. In an update today, prosecutors said they had, quote, strong indications that Putin offered missiles to pro-Russian rebels, but said they did not have evidence that he ordered the attack. The plane was shot down by a Russian anti-aircraft missile over eastern Ukraine, killing all passengers on board. Russia has denied any involvement. For more news on today's probe, I spoke to DW's Jack Perrick in Brussels.
Well, they tell us essentially that there is a strong indication, was the quote, that Vladimir Putin was personally aware and responsible and made the decision to send the Buk-Telar missiles that went to the People's Donetsk Republic separatists that inevitably ended up shooting down the MH17 plane that was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. Obviously, it sadly never made it there. They say that essentially due to phone recordings, that there are very strong indications that it was Vladimir Putin himself, that in fact, according to the intercepted phone recordings, that actually the delivery of those weapon systems was delayed because Vladimir Putin was in France with Western leaders for a commemoration of the D-Day of the Second World War, and that actually they delayed the sending of the weapons until after he had returned to Moscow after that. Now, the investigation here ends. It's been suspended after this. Vladimir Putin enjoys head of state immunity, and therefore they cannot prosecute him as part of this investigation. The joint team has worked for many, many years over this, and as you said, Moscow stringently denies any involvement in the shooting down of that plane.
But that must be a bitter pill to swallow. You have Dutch prosecutors saying that Putin was directly involved, but this investigation has reached its limit. Is it truly that there won't be any repercussions?
That is exactly almost the wording of what the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, said. He called this a bitter disappointment for the family of the loved ones who were killed in this in the shooting down of MH17. 196 of the 298 people were Dutch citizens. He said that the investigations will resume if there are new developments, but at the moment he understood that they needed to stop without any new information or new evidence. He did say that his government will not stop to try and establish justice over this. 3 people were convicted of the crimes of shooting down the plane in absentia last year, but this is kind of the end of the investigation now.
And Jack, just briefly before I let you go, what kind of official reaction can we expect to this?
Well, what's really interesting here is the context of the war now. Obviously, this was 2014 when that was shot down and the annexation of Crimea. But now, since the full scale of invasion of Ukraine a year ago, there are now attempts, especially the European Union powers, to set up a special tribunal to try for the crime of aggression that would potentially involve the Russian president having to face justice as they see it. That's a long way off. It would require UN Security Council approval. Russia is obviously a permanent member of that. But that's what they're trying to do now, to make this, to give these tribunals in The Hague a little bit more teeth.